Hey, good afternoon everybody. Opinionated Cheapskate here. We have on the table for review the Thorfire convertible camping lantern. Like a lot of these camping lanterns, it has two modes. It's either a flashlight or a lantern depending on how you configure it. And here with it closed is really flashlight mode. And the flashlight is here on top. So you push this button and then there you go. You've got a 15 lumen flashlight on low or 65 lumens on high. And that 65 lumens is perfectly bright for most tasks. You could probably even get away with the 15 lumen occasionally. But it also is a lantern, and that's really its main purpose. It's not a flashlight. So to make it become a lantern, you wiggle it. And here, let me turn it on, and then I will wiggle it. So you can see there's a little clasp here. It's kind of odd. It doesn't, you would think it would unscrew or something like that, and it doesn't. Instead, I'm going to exaggerate this, but basically you do this and eventually it pops this loose. And then you pull up like that. And then there you go. There's the lantern. That's on low and that's on high. And it's powered by a little 300 milliamp hour battery here in the base, and it's just a single LED. But it throws out a fair bit of light on high. One downside to this design is that the battery here is very, very small. 300 milliamp hours is only, well, let me do my comparison. If you were to look at the battery inside a modern iPhone, that's about 1700 milliamp hours, and this one is only 300. So obviously the battery here is really quite small. It has very limited capacity, and that is reflected in the runtimes you're going to see on this. All LEDs are very efficient, but if the battery is as small as that, it's not going to last forever. On high mode, the 65 lumen mode, it's about 40 minutes when it's fully charged. On low mode, it'll run for about 4.5 hours, and then the little battery is done. So that's, you know, the capacity is not so great, and it's a bit big. Actually, this is a little bit bigger than I expected it to be when I ordered it, and it weighs a little more than I expected to. Also, it weighs 168 grams or 5.9 ounces. So, given its size and its weight and sort of how long the battery lasts, I don't think this is a great choice if you want to go backpacking. You can do better. You can find things that are smaller and lighter and last a lot longer. So this really isn't a backpacking lantern. That's not its best use. Yes, you could take it car camping, but again, it's kind of, in that situation, it's kind of too small. It's sort of a weird, it's a little big for a backpacking light and a little small for a car camping light, because a car camping light, you don't have to worry about weight, and so you can have a much bigger lantern that weighs more and lasts a whole lot longer. So it's a kind of a weird in the middle. What I think this light is really best at is not really for camping in any way, shape, or form, but rather as a sort of a home emergency kit light. And that's really where it comes into its own. And the reason why is instead of having a lot of battery in the base, it has this thing, which is a pull-out little dynamo generator. And so you do this, and it's a little noisy as it runs. You can see the little light there. It's an awkward way to do this, but anyway, you can see the light that it's charging the little 300 milliamp battery every time you do this. And so the manufacturer, and then it locks back in and closes up. The manufacturer says if you crank the little dynamo for a minute, you will have about 11 minutes of power on low, or about of light on low, and then about 4 minutes of light on high. So theoretically, you have essentially unlimited amounts of light out of this light without ever having to, buy more batteries for it. And in an extended power outage where you don't have any more batteries, or you got cut short without any batteries, this is a great little lifesaver, because you can really run this all evening, no problem at all. Every half hour or so, you're going to have to stop and crank it for a couple minutes. But that's really a very nice, and it's safe. You're not using candles, so, and it packs up into a very small size. Somebody in an apartment who doesn't have a lot of room for emergency supplies, this is sort of a great choice. I think this is a really great little sort of home emergency kit, hurricane power outage kind of lantern for that. It also has another feature that would be very handy in an extended power outage, and that's the ability to recharge your cell phone. It comes with these two proprietary cables. One is a sort of USB in to sort of charge the battery using a USB, and then it also comes with this other wire, and this one goes in the same socket. And now the power from the dynamo, instead of going into the battery, is going to come out through this USB, and you can use it to charge your cell phone. So you plug this in, whichever way. This goes like that. This, And now if you listen, you'll hear my phone chime as I do this. There you go. Now I'm charging up my battery. Now, would I want to do this long enough to charge a real modern cell phone battery? Absolutely, positively not. You would be doing this for hours and hours and hours to fully charge a modern cell phone. It takes a long time to charge up just a little 300 milliamp hour battery in here. So doing this to charge up a 1700 or this is an iPhone 6 Plus, it's over 2000 milliamp hour battery. No, you are not going to want to do this unless you absolutely have to and you have no other way to do it. But it's a backup, and it's designed to be sort of this last-ditch backup. You have both light and the ability to have your phone charged, even if you have no other way to charge anything. And for $14, that's really quite a handy bit of capability. And so, yeah, I think this is kind of a cool thing. I think it's good for a home emergency kit. I think it's a nice little lantern. I think it's reasonably well built for what it cost. I mean, this plastic's obviously a little flimsy and not going to last forever, but you know, yeah, it's a good thing. Now, if you're thinking about buying this and you've decided, yeah, I want to get myself one of these, make sure you pay attention to the following, because this is important. A lot of people are going to do the following. They're going to buy this thing, they're going to close it up, they're going to stick it in a drawer, and it's going to sit there for 3 years. And then they're going to pull it out when they're in the middle of a major power outage, and they're going to be like, hey, it doesn't work anymore. And the reason why is not because there's anything wrong with this, but because the battery inside periodically must be topped off. If you don't do that, the battery voltage will drop below a critical threshold, and then the battery will be junk. That's nothing unique to this. That's true of every rechargeable battery out there. You have to occasionally put some juice in it. Now, the manufacturer suggests you pull this out every month and you do this for a little while. I wouldn't do that. I would, in fact, use the little USB charger that it comes with, plug it in using this, and then every couple months, stick this on your computer for an hour so that it's fully charged up and it's ready to go. If you do that, it's going to last a long time and it will be available to you when you really need it. But you have to basically understand that you've got to do that maintenance to the battery occasionally, or the battery just will not be there for you. So if you're willing to undertake that, and you're not going to forget about it, yeah, this is a good little thing for $14. And so as an emergency light kit, I highly recommend it. Just don't expect that you can go backpacking with it. With that, hopefully you have a nice afternoon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.